The sunlit dome of Harmony Station glowed above the students as they hurried into the orbital academy. It floated high above the blue world below, circling in a slow and elegant path, like a guardian watching over the progress of the young. The academy was famous for one reason. It trained the next generation of human explorers. Pilots, engineers, diplomats, artists, all worked together to strengthen the reach of humankind through the stars. Among these students walked a quiet girl named Lena. She carried a small data pad pressed close to her chest and moved with soft steps. Almost invisible among the others, Lena kept her gaze low. She did not speak much because each time she tried, someone found a way to jest at her shyness. Her uniform was simple and neatly pressed. Her hair was tied with a tiny ribbon that matched the academy color. She never caused trouble. She never raised her voice. The only unusual thing about her was the worn music badge clipped to her collar, a badge she had earned on Earth long before she came to the station. Most students ignored it because they never saw her perform anything. They believed she carried it only to feel important, though she never said such a thing. This day was different. The class had a special session in the music chamber. It was part of their cultural training, an important element for students who would one day interact with new worlds. The instructor for the course was known as Master Hoy. He was tall, stern, and always carried a tone of superiority. Many students respected him, though some whispered that his pride overshadowed his lessons. He considered himself a master performer, and his opinion mattered greatly in the academy. Most students feared his remarks because he was direct and sharp. Lena entered the chamber last and took a seat at the back. The walls curved smoothly with silver panels, and the center of the room held a gleaming digital piano. It was a delicate instrument designed with advanced resonance modules that could mimic any sound across known galaxies. Yet it still held the classic appearance of the ancient pianos played on Earth centuries ago. Master Hall stood near it with his arms crossed as the students settled. He began with a speech about discipline, talent, and responsibility. His words echoed through the dome with strong clarity. After several demonstrations, he invited a few students to step forward and try simple melodies. Some played well, some struggled, and he gave cold remarks regardless of their attempt. The atmosphere grew tense. No one wished to be the subject of his next lecture. Then his gaze reached the back row. He saw the small badge attached to Lena's collar. His brows rose in exaggerated surprise. He tilted his head slightly, and a smirk formed. The class followed his stare. Whispering broke out among the students. They knew he would not let the sight pass quietly. He spoke her name, sharp and loud. Lena froze. Her heart pounded. She had hoped the session would end before anyone noticed her badge. But now all eyes turned to her. Master Hall called her again, this time with a mocking lift in his voice. It made Lena shrink in her seat. She stood slowly and walked toward the piano. Her steps trembled as she approached the front. A few students exchanged amused glances. They had never heard her play anything. Rumors said she only pretended to know music. Others believed the badge was a mistake. Master Hall seemed eager to uncover the truth. When she reached the piano, he tapped the instrument lightly. "So, you claim to know this art," he said, his voice filled with disbelief. Lena shook her head gently. "I never claimed anything," she replied in a soft tone. "But you wear the badge," he said, "and symbols must be earned. If you have the right to wear it, then play. Show the class your skill." The pressure in the room grew heavy. Lena could feel it pressing against her chest. She wanted to turn away. She wanted to explain that she did not wish to be judged like this. She simply loved music and wore the badge because it reminded her of home. But Master Hall demanded an answer. He stepped aside with a theatrical gesture toward the seat. "Sit," Play something. Anything, he said. Lena hesitated. The digital piano shimmered under the dome lights. Its keys glowed faintly. She reached out her hand and touched one lightly. The sound that emerged was pure and bright. The class looked on with raised brows. Master Hall folded his arms again. "Well," he said, "we are waiting." Lena lowered herself onto the bench. She placed both hands over the keys. Her fingers were delicate and steady now that they hovered above the instrument. She closed her eyes for a moment. This piano was different from the one she used to play on Earth. Yet when her heart connected with the quiet space around her, she no longer felt shy. She no longer heard the whispers. She no longer saw Master Hale's smirk. She heard only the silent expectation of the room. She began to play. At first, the melody was soft. A gentle rise and fall, like the whisper of a distant wind across an open world. The students leaned forward. The notes carried warmth, lifting and weaving in smooth patterns. Her hands moved with a certainty none of them expected. The melody expanded, gathering strength and soaring into a clear line that echoed across the dome. The sound filled every corner of the room with a brilliance they had never heard. The digital piano reacted to her touch in a remarkable way. Its advanced resonance modules produced layers of tones that matched each strike of her fingers. The harmonics blended with the air itself. The room grew still. Even Master Hale's expression shifted from mockery to surprise. His brows drew together, and he leaned closer without realizing it. Lena's melody changed. It moved from gentle beginnings into a deep and powerful rhythm. Each chord pulsed like a heartbeat of a growing star. The air hummed. The students felt it in their bones. It was not only music. It was emotion transformed into sound. It was a voice that spoke without words. Lena played with skill far beyond their expectations. Her hands danced across the keys with speed and grace. There was no hesitation. She did not falter. Images formed in the minds of the listeners. Vast human ships gliding through cosmic storms. A lone traveler watching twin suns rise over a new horizon. A child standing at the doorway of a home filled with hope. A group of explorers planting the first beacon in an unknown land. All these scenes rose from the sound she created. Her melody shifted again, turning bright and triumphant. The tone celebrated the perseverance of humanity. It celebrated courage, unity, and the ability to overcome fear. It carried the essence of humankind's journey into the stars. Master Hall, who once believed himself the unrivaled expert, now felt humbled. He had misjudged the quiet girl. Her talent reached far beyond anything he had imagined. The piece built into a radiant climax. A sweeping cascade of notes rolled across the room like a wave of starlight. It ended with a final clear tone. A single shining note that lingered in the air for several breaths. When it faded, silence remained. No one moved. Lena's hands returned to her lap. Her shoulders rose and fell as she caught her breath. She looked up at the class. They stared at her with wide eyes. The whispers were gone. The smirks were gone. Every student sat still, stunned by what they had heard. Even Master Hala stood speechless. A long moment passed before anyone reacted. Then one student clapped. Then another. Soon the entire class rose from their seats in a wave of applause. The sound filled the chamber. Some cheered. Others shouted praise. Lena blinked in surprise. She had never expected this response. She had played because she was asked. She had played because she loved music. She had not played to impress. Master Hall stepped forward with a slow and heavy breath. His pride had taken a sharp wound, but he could not deny what he witnessed. He nodded at her with seriousness and respect. He spoke in a steady voice. "You have a remarkable gift," he said. one that demands recognition. Your skill is beyond anything I have taught in this class. For the first time, he bowed slightly to a student. Lena felt heat rise to her cheeks. She did not know what to say, but she nodded politely. Some students approached her immediately, eager to compliment her. They asked how she learned. They asked if she would teach them a piece someday. Lena answered gently, still overwhelmed. The academy administrators soon heard about the performance. Word traveled through the dome, faster than any message broadcast. Instructors, staff, and even some station visitors lined up outside the music chamber in the days that followed. They wished to hear the girl who stunned an entire class. They wished to see the human who played with such purity. Lena became a quiet symbol of human potential, not because she sought fame, but because she showed what passion looked like when it grew without fear. Her classmates, once amused by her silence, now walked beside her with respect. They understood that true talent often hides behind modesty. They understood that strength does not always come from loud voices. Lena changed the atmosphere of the course. Even Master Heil began teaching with more humility. Her music was not only sound. It was a bridge. It united the students. It reminded them why they trained on the station. Humanity's power was not only found in machines or ships. It was found in the heart. It was found in the ability to inspire. One cycle later, Lena had her first performance for the entire academy. The grand hall filled with people from every division. The commanders of future missions. The engineers who built starships. The diplomats who planned peaceful connections with distant civilizations. They all gathered to hear her dot. When she stepped onto the stage, she felt nervous again.